headlining Madison Square Garden, fine. Being in the opening act for Queen in Europe in 1986, awesome. There was a lot of music business, and we could be here till 6 o'clock tonight, telling you about the different unbelievable experiences that I have. And I have a studio, full of memorabilia and all of the stuff as
Hmm.
gentle reminders of all the good fortune that I've had in my career.
Welcome back to the program. My guest today has been playing the drums professionally for well over 50 years. A world-renowned drummer, he has played with the likes of the Mamas and the Papas, Michael Bolton, Pat Travers Band, Bo Diddley, Cyndi Lauper, Joan Jett, and many other acts. Now, these days, he's a teacher, he's a technician, a professional speaker, a businessman, and yes, an author. He is here today to discuss his new book, Beat the Odds, How to Achieve Rock Star Success in Business and in Life. Please welcome Sandy Gennaro to the program. Sandy, how are you today?
I'm doing fine, Josh. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic.
Thanks for
So I
having
want to kind of just tell the audience a little bit about how we connected, because again, I don't typically have rock stars on and interview rock stars and things like that, but my kid is a budding rock star, without a doubt. My son Jacob, a drummer. And during the lockdowns, obviously things were a little tough, couldn't go to his drum lessons, couldn't do different things. So when he was little, he started playing the drums at 3 years old. One of the drum videos that I bought him was Drum Basics, parts 1 and part 2, keeping the groove, keeping the beat, all of those things. And as a child around 5, 6 years old, he really started watching those videos over and over and over. He could almost recite them. He could recite you going 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet. And it was just amazing. And so I said to myself, wouldn't it be cool if I reached out and seeing if I can find him on LinkedIn? So that's what I did. I reached out to you, and to my surprise, you not only accepted, but you were cordial about it. And then you spent an hour with Jacob during the lockdowns, teaching him through Skype. And I got to tell you, that 1 hour lesson for Jacob was instrumental, not just in musical sense, but in the fact that it gave him much more courage, much more conviction. And he really has blossomed from that one instance of meeting with you. So I just wanted to kind of bring that up even before we talked about anything else.
That's awesome. Well, I remember Jacob, and that's it's one of the things that basically it comes full circle, Josh, because the Drum Basics video is all about. It's not about all the icing, is what I refer to as icing, is all the tops, chops, and technique and and rudiments and all of that. It's about the basic stuff. It's about the cake, not about the icing. And in regard to that, that's what I try to impart to Jacob, is the fact that, when you tell me that he got more than just, techniques on the drum set out of my hour with him, that really brings it home to me, because it goes way beyond the technical ability. A certain amount of technical ability is important, but it's more of a mindset of how you deal with the problems in the music business, the problems that any young drummer will come across his path during, and it goes to the, it also speaks to the problems everybody has. It speaks to life, actually, that it's more about the relationships and feeling and mindset than about the technical ability. And I hope Jacob is doing well, and I hope he continued on his path, his musical journey as well. And also relay to him that if he ever wants another engagement with me, I still teach virtually or and in person now that the pandemic is kind of relaxed a little bit. So yeah, just give him my best regards, and I hope he's doing. Is he still playing?
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, he's been playing since he was 3 years old. He's playing not in any bands, but one of his problems is, and I'm not bragging because I'm his dad, but one of his issues is being almost 16 in October, is it's hard for him to find musicians that can keep up with him. He has met this one girl who plays the bass, who's excellent, and she's got a great ear and she can play really well. And so the two of them have been kind of doing the whole garage band thing a little bit, and they're eventually going to look for a singer and and a guitarist because she's a bass player.
Right.
But yeah, he's continuing to play. He plays all kinds of different music, and it's in his blood. I didn't have that musical ability. I always say, I may be on television and radio and a public figure, but he's going to be the one that I think in the end is going to be the more famous of the two. And I certainly hope that is the case.
That's great. And if I can ever help him along the way, not only from a drumming standpoint, from a business standpoint, I've taught the music business. I inaugurated the music business program at the Collective in New York, a world-renowned music school. So I've spoken to groups about the business of music, because one of the mistakes musicians make is that, and this is a mistake that I made early on, is like, when I read my first contract, Sandy Gennaro, here I'm known as artist, I always said, well, I'm an artist. I don't need to be involved with business. I can hire a business manager to do that when I make it. But that's a very, very big mistake, because
talk to Billy Joel, right?
Right. Talk to Billy Joel, and that list is really, really long.
It
and I'm
is,
not gonna mention
unfortunately.
names, but so if he has any questions at all and wants to reconnect with me, I'm totally open to that.
Well, I definitely appreciate that. And I may take you up on that, because at some point he's going to be looking at music schools. And that might be something that perhaps the two of you may have a future conversation on. So I definitely appreciate that as well.
Awesome.
Now, you've been a professional musician for over 50 years. And obviously the music industry has changed drastically, if that, from the time that you started in it to where it is now. Obviously, technology makes things a lot different these days. There's a lot of people that maybe are sometimes hiding behind certain beats rather than actually doing the beats themselves. And then, of course, there's so much, distribution out there where there's more avenues for people's music and skill sets to be recognized and to be heard. My question to you is, how different is it now being a professional musician as it was in the past?
It's night and day. It's totally night and day, and all of it started with the invention of the drum machine. We've always had metronomes, but in the 80s, drum machines were invented, and producers took the advantage of being able to program a beat or program a song with different beats and different whatever. And that became the mainstay in the 80s, and a lot of drummers were turned off by it. I'm not going to align myself with a drum machine. It's taking work away from us.
Right.
It did take a lot of work away from us. But I wrote an article for Modern Drummer magazine in 1985 called "Approaching the Scary Monster," and the scary monster in this case is technology, or more specifically, drum machines. And I said we have to become friends with it, because it's here to stay. You can't reject it, because it's a machine, basically, a computer, basically. We have to become friends with it. With the drum machine, then became the internet and all of that, the business, and that led to the demise of a lot of brick and mortar record stores, right, where albums. If you have GarageBand and a keyboard, GarageBand and your Mac computer and a keyboard and a microphone, you can make a record in your living room. So yes, on one hand, it was very advantageous, because you or Jacob and his bass player friend could make a record in their garage. So the access is easier to get your songs out there. But on the tail of that statement, I would hesitate to say that the music business is really, really diluted now. It's not. There's thousands of tracks on Spotify and on Apple Music or whatever. So it's very, very hard for a band or an artist to rise above the millions and millions and millions of songs that are
Right.
being dumped into Spotify. It's very hard to be singled out unless you're a superstar like Beyonce or Lady Gaga or an established superstar. Um, and of course, with that, monetarily speaking, a lot of bands nowadays, especially like your Billy Joels and especially like your heritage bands like U2 and Aerosmith, they make their money on the road now. They make their money aside from the residual publishing of the records that they made before the
Right.
internet, so to speak. Um, they make their money on the road and via merchandise. That's how bands make their money. That's how Blondie goes out and makes her money. Blondie doesn't have a record out right now, but they're on the road right now. Motley Crue doesn't have a record out right now. Yeah, they've had albums, whatever
Mhm.
successful records, and they're building upon that success. But to answer your question, the record business is totally different, night and day from the way it was in the early '80s. And there's some benefits to that. And then there also, with the benefits and with the benefit of technology, you have not the downfall, but the disadvantages as well, especially to brand new artists.
Right. Gotcha. It makes it harder for them because there's so much out there. It's diluted, as you mentioned. Let's talk about your brand new book, Beat the Odds: How to Achieve Rockstar Success in Business and in Life. What did you learn about yourself from writing the book? And how is being a rock star, as you certainly have been for many, many years, prepared you for success in the business world?
Well, to me personally, Josh, I don't like being described as a rock star, and it goes along with me writing the book. I mean, yes, I have a certain amount of recognition. I'm
That's
famous.
what you titled it.
I know. I'm famous because I am involved with different people, with
Sure.
famous people. Okay, I'm famous by association, and in writing the book, I've realized that all of the great gigs that I've gotten, have been as a result of of a relationship. It hasn't been because of a resume or anything like that. It's because of the combination of the positive outlook I've always had in my life, even through all the problems that I've had coming up and going through the music business for over half a century. So it's about relationships. It's about my positive outlook about to problems that happen, my perception of the world and how it happens to everybody, and also in combination with the recognition that you must treat everybody as an equal. Nobody is better or worse than you because of a job they have, because of a nationality, because of the color of their skin, or because of political affiliation, because of a
Mhm.
sex. We all have a soul inside of us, Josh, and that's what makes us all part of this same human family. And
Fair
I
enough.
wrote, and most important thing is the respect and the recognition of a power greater than ourselves at work in our lives. We don't walk around in a cocoon, and everything that happens in our life is not strictly because of our doing. It's with the help of the universe, the help of the God, or the help of the higher power, or whatever you want to call it. And when we're in league with that higher power, in combination of positive thinking and positive outlook of events that haven't happened yet, a positive anticipation of events that haven't happened yet, and the way we treat people. I wouldn't have gotten any of the gigs that I've gotten in my life if it wasn't the fact that I treated somebody really, really well when I really didn't have to, and it came back and helped me in spades. And in some cases, in one particular case, it changed my life because the story is in the book.
The stories in the book. I got you. So besides teaching lessons, writing books, of course, giving keynote speeches, are you still writing songs? Are you still playing drums? Are you playing in any bands? Are you working on any studio work. What have you been doing?
Well, I've been mostly what I've been doing since the book came out is busy marketing and doing presentations and podcasts in relation to the marketing of the book. I
Mhm.
also have been heavily involved in public speaking, in conferences, speaking to CEOs in regard to this organization called Vistage. And I still play in a cover band here in Nashville called Rock United, and we play 70s and 80s rockin' cover songs, and I end up playing all the songs I played in the 70s and 80s. So that I'll always be a drummer. Drumming is in my DNA, built in inside me, and I'll play. As you can see, my studio here, which I gave Jacob the lesson. I still have two
Oh,
drum
wow.
sets
Look at
set up
that.
side by side. I still teach
Yep.
lessons. I give lessons to live here in my studio to a couple of people in Nashville, and so I'm still involved with
Yep.
drumming and stuff and music. I'm not really a songwriter. I don't consider myself a songwriter, but I'm very adaptable when it comes to playing other people's songs and songs that were written by other people. And I'm also heavily involved with cancer funding.
Hmm.
The Scott Hamilton Cares Foundation. He's an Olympic gold medalist that has got a cancer a benefit situation, and also the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute in Boston, the Country Woman Cancer Fund, also in Boston, that benefits Dana-Farber. So people close to me have died of cancer, so that's an issue that's very close to my heart, and trying to pay it forward there.
Well, good. It seems like you're keeping busy, and obviously, I noticed all the awards on the walls. I don't want you to go through every single one, but what are some of the main ones that we're seeing there behind you?
Well, some of the main ones, the five album, that's Cyndi Lauper, 5 times platinum. The
Okay.
rest of the platinum record on that side, on the right side as you look at it, that's Joan Jett. On the left side is a gold record from Joan Jett. They're mostly, and then the little 45s are singles from Cyndi Lauper's record. There might be one or two from Bo Diddley up there. The little plaques on the left side is basically little thank yous from cancer foundations, and me giving clinics to little kids and whatever. They're just little mementos, and they're just there as a reminder of my appreciation and all the things that I've done in my career that I've never lost appreciation for. And that's one of the main things behind any successful person, is being appreciative of the gifts that he or she has been given, and never take anything for granted, because it can all disappear like this. What
Let
do
me
you got?
ask you this:
Go
what did
ahead.
you learn about all the different people that you dealt with? From managers, from tour guide, people on tours, from other bandmates, from record companies, from executives, from songwriters. What did you learn about all of that that has prepared you and made you successful in the business that you're doing now?
Well, the main thing I've learned, Josh, is that it goes way beyond technical ability. It goes way beyond how famous a person is. What I learned after meeting certain people that are famous, that when you meet them in person and try to converse with them, the image is totally tarnished.
Hmm.
I walk away from some of the meetings I've had with famous people who remain nameless, and I wish that I didn't meet them, because the image was
Right.
far superior than the person. And I've come away realizing that it's not about the platinum records on the wall. It's not about how famous you are. It's about how you treat people.
It's
Because
relationships, just like
it's
businesses.
relationships. The way we're going to be remembered, Josh, in my view, the way we're going to be remembered is how we made treat people feel when we crossed their path, or when they crossed our path. It's how we were able to elevate people in some way, whether it's just a smile, somebody crossing you in an aisle in a supermarket, giving a smile to the little kid, make the kid in the basket chuckle, or it's giving somebody life-changing advice, or playing with somebody in an insignificant jam session, and being nice and polite to them, and being respectful of them, regardless, even if they're a nobody. And then 3 years later, they ended up asking you to join a band that ends up going platinum. You know,
Right.
you
Exactly.
never ever know. You
Yeah.
never ever
Never
know.
burn those bridges. Never burn
Don't
those bridges.
ever
Keep
burn them.
building them instead. I absolutely agree with you. Last question. What is the craziest thing that has ever happened to you on the road or perhaps during a live performance that you can share with us?
Well, the craziest thing that ever happened to me, I wasn't really on the road. I was living in LA in 1976, and it really has nothing to do with rock stardom or rock stars or famous tours. But I used to
Mhm.
be a big fan of the Johnny Carson show when he hosted The Tonight Show. I used to be a huge fan of his, and I've always visualized me being on the show, especially when he played this game called Stump the Band. And I always wanted to be on it. I thought if I was ever chosen to be on Stump the Band, if I was ever given the opportunity to go to the Carson show, because I lived in New York and he,
Mhm.
at the time, emanated his show from Burbank. If I ever was given the opportunity to be on and then more or less be picked to be on Stump the Band, I'll just mention a song that the one song in my life that I actually wrote was a song called Tweezers of Your Love. I wrote it with a guitar player friend of mine. Long story short, I moved to LA in '76 to get my first big break in the music business, and I sent away for tickets to Carson, and I ended up being picked to play Stump the Band. And if you go on YouTube and search Johnny Carson, Sandy Gennaro, Stump the Band, you'll see it. You'll see the little clip of me, of Johnny choosing me and me having banter with Johnny Carson. That was the most memorable thing that ever happened to me in my
Oh, wow. That
and
is interesting.
not only that, but I ended up being on Carson subsequently three more times, twice with Cyndi Lauper, and once with when Jay Leno hosted when I was with the Monkees. So yeah, that was the most fun thing. I mean, headlining Madison Square Garden, fine. Being in the opening act for Queen in Europe in 1986, awesome. There was a lot of music business, and we could be here till 6 o'clock tonight, telling you about the different unbelievable experiences that I have. And I have a studio, full of memorabilia and all of the stuff as
Mhm.
gentle reminders of all the good fortune that I've had in my career. Basically,
Now, are you a big fan of country music? Because it looks like you're residing now in the Nashville area.
yeah, well, Nashville. To be honest with you, I have very close friends that play in huge country bands with huge country artists, and I kind of enjoy the genre. It's not really my favorite type of genre. I'm more or less like a classic rock guy. But
Mhm.
don't be under the mistaken impression that Nashville is just country music these days. There's a lot of rock and roll. There's a lot of classic rock going on. There's a lot of bars and clubs and medium-sized venues that feature non-country music. There's a punk segment. There's a like electronic rave segment.
Mhm.
There's a lot of Nashville has basically become, especially in the last 5 6 years, like a melting pot of different styles.
Almost like Austin, right? In some
Right.
respects.
Right. Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Austin is more country, but it's more on a blues rock
Yeah. Austin
slant.
City Limits and some
Correct.
of that
And,
stuff.
here it is just a mishmash of everything, basically.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Great place to live.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. The book is Beat the Odds: How to Achieve Rockstar Success in Business and in Life. Sandy, where can folks go to learn more about you, the important work that you do, and to follow up on different things that you're
Well,
working
the
on?
first play, I'm on all the social. I'm on Instagram under my name, Facebook under my name, LinkedIn under my name. If they want just a copy of the book straight away, they can go to Amazon and just search Sandy Gennaro or Beat the Odds in Business and Life. If they would like a signed copy, a personalized signed copy by me, go to my website, which is sandygennaro.com, GENNARO.com, and there's a way to get not only a signed copy of the book, but a signed pair of Beat the Odds drumsticks from my website. So that's
Gotcha.
basically the size of it.
Awesome. Well, Sandy, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the program. Actually, we had a chance to talk, like I said, through my kid a couple of years ago. So we'll make sure that we keep in contact. And I wish you nothing but the best of luck in every single endeavor that you continue to do.
I appreciate that very much, Josh. I appreciate the opportunity to share this time with you, and please give Jacob my best, and reiterate that invitation to him if he's got any kind of issues at all, or he just wants to say hi or have a question about drumming or the business of music. I'm here for him.
Believe it or not, even as a drummer, he is a little bit on the shy side when I try to get him out of his shell a little bit more. I think that's why he likes being on the drums, because he can be back there and he doesn't have to be the front guy or whatever. But I will let him know that that's an open invitation to give you a call if he has any questions or anything he wants to reach out to you about.
That'd be
So I
great.
do appreciate that.
Yeah, anytime. And a shy guy, I know a lot of shy drummers that when they sit behind a drum set and they're playing Madison Square
They're
Garden,
wild men.
they realize that they are the engine of the car, and there's nobody more important on that stage, on any stage, than the drummer in the band, because they are the backbone of whatever music is happening there. So tell him to tip his hat to himself. Go in the mirror and tip his hat to himself. As shy he is, as he is, he's in a very, very important spot.
All right. I appreciate it. Thank you again, Sandy. God
You're
bless.
welcome. Thank you, Josh. I appreciate it.